Hey everyone, this is Steve. I'm coming to you on Saturday in my casual look. I got my pizza hat, and it's a lovely day out here. And I want to record a video in part because I'm a little bit behind on all kinds of stuff because of everything this last week in terms of the election and stuff like that. And I've got grading to do for some other classes and stuff. And I know you're all busy too because you're all busy working on the sustained research essay and getting ready to wrap up that portfolio as well. I've been seeing that through the peer review and everything, so more power to you. The last portfolio that we're going to be working on this semester is called the Research Transformed Portfolio, and it consists of three parts. A Research Transformed project essay, and I'll get to that in a second. Project, I'll get to that in a second. A poster presentation, and a reflection essay. You should, of course, read the assignments themselves, but just briefly, the Research Transformed portfolio is different from the other two in one key regard, and that has to do with who your primary audience is, what your primary purpose is about. For the first portfolio, for the first two portfolios, the only audience you really had to keep in mind for all the things that you wrote were your other students in the class and me. This portfolio is different. The goal of this portfolio is for you to now take the research that you have completed, at least for the time being completed, and the work that you've done on this so far, and represent it in a way that is outside the class, and in a way in which you use your research in order to persuade people who have no connection with what we're doing in our class whatsoever, okay? And there's basically two artifacts that you need to try to make to do that. One is a poster, and we'll talk more about this with the assignment itself and with a little bit more readings on some design and how to make a poster with PowerPoint and things like this. But academic posters, like as in, big poster presentations that people do in academia are actually fairly common in a lot of different disciplines. So this isn't just some sort of, arts and crafts project. I mean, this really is something that you might need to or want to make a poster as part of participating in a conference, as part of another class, or something like that. So that's a real assignment and real activity. There's a thing for the first year writing program called the Celebration of Student Writing. And when this class is held in normal times and face-to-face, what happens is that there's a designated, usually a Thursday towards the end of the semester, in which everyone who's taking first year writing right now, who's taking 121, and there's probably about 1,000 people, give or take, at EMU taking in the class right now, comes together at the EMU Student Center Ballroom, and they share artifacts and things that they've done for their research projects. It's kind of like a big science fair. And one of the more common ones is posters. And so in other words, the posters that you're making here might be able to participate in something like that electronically. This is still a to be arranged activity. It's nothing extra that you would have to do to participate in this. But the point is that there really might be an audience beyond just the class for this poster. Okay, so that's the first element of it that's due that's due in early December. The representation project is a little bit more complicated than that, and you should really read the assignment, but what it really comes down to is you need to find some way to represent your research to an audience of people that you're trying to persuade, okay? I'll give you some examples of how you might do that. Some people have done things like written Congress people to try to persuade them to vote for some kind of legislation that has to do with whatever they research. Now, keep in mind, for example, some of you are talking about like various bans and censorship and age restrictions and stuff like that. That would all be the kind of thing that would fit into this category because that would basically represent a law. Now, keep in mind, if you decide to do something like that, you have to do some research on how to do that. So in other words, you have to figure out what congressperson you would write to, what is that congressperson's current position on what you're trying to persuade them about. Are you talking about writing to somebody at the state level, somebody at the federal level, and so forth? People have also done like written op-ed pieces for newspapers. Same sort of thing though. what's the style of the newspaper that you'd be writing it to? What is their practice for publishing these things? In other words, it can't be just a sort of generic, I'm going to write somebody and tell them they should do something, or I'm going to write an op-ed and just generally something like that. Some people have done stuff like put together videos. That's fine. You could potentially put together a video that's trying to persuade an audience like this. I've had students make video games before with this. I've had students make board games before with this. You can do almost anything as long as you run by me the idea of what it is you're going to be doing that fits into this category of representation. The one thing that you really can't do is make a poster, because you're already going to make a poster. Okay. The last project is a reflection essay, and that's very similar to the other reflection essays that we've done this semester. One difference is that we're not going to have time to do peer review on it. So, and you'll see that on the schedule. So we'll do peer review on the representation essay, that's the major project, and we'll do some work on the poster like that too, although not really so much peer review so much as just pushing around ideas with each other. But when it comes to the final reflection essay for this semester, we'll be doing that without any peer review at the end. And all this stuff is due at the end, and it's all on the schedule. I've got things to update on the schedule. There'll be some more information coming in there, but the dates are all right as far as when everything is going to be due. Okay, I think that's about it for now. Obviously, if you got questions about anything, by all means, ask them in the space below. Thanks.